Hey, welcome back everyone to RAMBOMANIA. Today we're taking a look at bringing Rambo to the big screen in a little video, little episode called Reinvention. So, yeah. So looking over, it took, I guess, 10 years? 1972 to 1982 to get this thing going, I know the book itself was transcribed into 21 different languages. David Morrell auctioned First Blood to Columbia in 1972, and in 1973 they sold those rights to Warner Brothers for the movie. And eventually it went through, I think, 3 or 4 more companies before getting to Coralco, which was set up by the guys from Anabasis, Andrew Vanya and Mario Casar, who would form Coralco. And these guys just had a really, really brilliant dynamic and plan that brought their company together. I do not believe the company is with us anymore. I think it changed to CO2 Productions. I'm not too sure. I'll look that up. But Ted Kotcheff, who had been trying to get this thing off the ground for ages, struck gold with them. It would fall right into their laps, and they would eventually make history. Some very influential filmmakers there indeed. So the film treatment went through about 18 scripts, I believe, and many of those scripts featured Rambo mowing down innocents and civilians, sometimes in target practice fashion. The best scripts I overheard in the documentary were written by Michael Kozel and William Sackheim. In the end, I think Stallone had some rewrites, and they opted not to go for the killer Rambo kind of thing. In the novel, he pretty much would kill if he was, forced to, or cornered, or had to, or believed he had to. But in the movie, he doesn't really kill anyone. There's a car accident with some patrol people and Galt falling out of the helicopter, but Rambo didn't really kill anybody. Thank God. Sorry. Thank God. Thank God. He did, however, maim a bunch of people and put a lot of guys out of commission. Some trivia though, before it got to its eventual handlers. A couple of other people were scheduled to direct. Richard Brooks, Martin Ritt, Sidney Pollack, and John Frankenheimer were considered. And Rambo, also the character, went through a lot of different actors as well. Paul Newman, Al Pacino, Steve McQueen, Clint Eastwood, Robert De Niro, Ryan O'Neal, James Gardner, Nick Nolte. Yeah, even Nick Nolte. I think he wishes he would have grabbed that now, I think. Other greats: Michael Douglas, Dustin Hoffman, Terrence Hill, Chris Christopherson, even John Travolta. And John Travolta passed on that, but he would also pass later on when they were discussing James Cameron's script. There was a character written for him called Brewer, and I'm recently going through that. We're going to review it later on, but that would have been pretty crazy for John Travolta. So I don't know why he passed on it. I guess in the future when they were doing Rambo 2, I guess he passed on it because the whole buddy cop thing, they opted that out for the man alone thing. Which I guess, going for the theme of the one-man army, Rambo pretty much started it off. So I guess sticking to that made for a better picture. However, they did have quite a couple of really cool, funny, side-by-side, fighting things. and like moments in James Cameron's script, which is just beautiful, and I can't wait to get that in season 2. Troutman also was changed, but first we'll get to Teasel. Teasel, the original Teasel, was none other than Lex Luthor himself, Gene Hackman. Then they went to Robert Duvall, and then, finally they rested on Brian Dennehy, which I can't see anybody else being Teasel than Brian Dennehy. A great Canadian and a great tour de force, and his presence is just beautiful in this movie. I mean, he's just amazing. Every second he's on screen, he's just blowing up that movie. And I love him. And I love him in this picture. And it's there could only be one. Troutman also went through some changes. Lee Marvin from the A-Team, he always has a plan. Lee Marvin was supposed to be Troutman. Later on, though, they passed that on to Mr. Kirk Douglas, who even ended up going to the location. There was some mishaps with the script. He wanted to incorporate his own things into it and try to kind of rewrite it. And even though it was already kind of rewritten and polished by Sly, they had differences. They talk about it a lot in the documentary Drawing First Blood, and they even joke about later on how, Sly encountered him at a party or some sort of thing, and he said, "Oh, Rambo must die," and Stallone said, "Yeah, but not in this film." And when they met up later on, he was saying how Sly would have been, politically and artistically correct by killing off Rambo. And yeah, he also said, though, that Sly would have lost, millions and upon millions of dollars. But Douglas's Troutman was a little wacky in the end, and kind of turned into Rambo at the end after taking Rambo out. It's really cool. Check out the documentary. It's called Drawing First Blood. You can find that on the DVD of First Blood or the Rambo box set. It's included in the new box set as well. But we'll be getting to that in season 3. So Mr. Kirk Douglas, all knowing he had good intentions, he had to go. And they brought in Richard Crenna, who, in my opinion, oh my god, I love him. His performance is so buyable. That man can act his way through the apocalypse. His acting is so beautiful in this movie. He's so nonchalant. He carries that character, and he really helps to sell the non-verbalized Rambo that we end up seeing in the 82 theatrical cut of First Blood. We truly lost one of the greatest actors of all time when we lost Mr. Crenna. And wow, I miss him so much. Especially that ending scene in First Blood, which we'll get to later. The emotion he conceals behind his face, but with the little subtleties he gives off on his face, it's beautiful. It's very beautiful. So the biggest change from the novel, I think, to the movie was the setting, bringing it from Kentucky to the Pacific Northwest. And next we're going to look at that town that Rambo just blows the shit out of. And yeah, so I'll see you in the next episode, and thanks for watching. Alright, later.